Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Thursday, May 30th, 2024. So, of course, we'll have some, niche news tonight. Of course, we'll be primarily going over the indie comic showcase from Bleeding Fool. Also, we'll have the rest up and the This Day Niche History segment later on. We're gonna, of course, give it a few minutes, give people a chance to come in and get in here before we get started. Hey, Apex. Hello. I asked for 628 off and standing by for a response this week. All right. Well, thanks for letting me know. So, anyways, well, we got somebody in here now. So, why don't we go? I'm going to talk a little bit about well, I've already kind of mentioned what's on tap for tonight. We're going to go over. So, I guess I should just go ahead and get into it then, as it were. Anyways, so let's pull that up. So we're gonna look over, of course, the Indie Comic Showcase from Bleeding Fool here. All right. As always, if guys haven't already, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, okay. Anyways, let's get into this then. So, Indie Comic Showcase number 275, Cold Cutter, Nexus Scourge, which I believe is Mike Barron's latest book, and Taking Out the Dead, article by Chris Braley, published yesterday. So, let's get into this. Welcome back to another installment of Indie Comic Showcase, a weekly blog where we signal boost a few truly independent comics that are currently crowdfunding their projects, crowdsourcing their funding in some way, or just completely self-publishing on their own. Every little bit of support for these creators matters, from a single dollar pledge to the $25 bundle, and of course, the higher tiers are usually fun too. Even if you can't back a campaign or buy a book, you can share or tweet about these projects to your friends and followers. Or, of course, you can also come here to the Mikestand every Thursday where we, go over the article here. You can get the information from us as well as we share it out as well. So, on Indie Comic Showcase, we interview the creators, show off some art, and tell you how you can check out the product for yourself. Below, we have some outstanding crowdfunding campaigns this week for you to learn about, enjoy, and hopefully support by backing one or more of them. Thanks for checking these out and for being the best part of Indie Comic Showcase. Let's jump in. So, of course, the first comic they're gonna highlight here. All right. Oh. Taking Out the Dead by P.J. Curling. There's a cover from, I guess, Team Ninja Shark Comics number 1 there. So let's go grab the link here. And this is a Kickstarter campaign. I'll push that back up so you guys can look at the cover there. The main part of the cover. Let me just look one more time here. Taking Out the Dead. All right. All right. What am I doing, Mike? Gotta remember you. All right. So here's the link for this book if you guys want to go check that out. We'll highlight it so you guys can see that. That's the name of the book, Taking Out the Dead. Guys want to go check that out. There's the link. Let's go ahead and get into the article then here. You got a couple of people there sitting there shooting up. Let's see what this is all about. So, from, of course, Curling, Govea, Stevenson, and Della Verde. All right, so Chris Braley. Welcome to Indie Comics Showcase. PJ, briefly tell us the elevator pitch for Taking Out the Dead. PJ Curling. John Wick meets The Last of Us, following 8 individuals surviving the zombie apocalypse in near-future New England. The story follows a young woman as she chases a rumor that her brother may still be alive in Boston. Meanwhile, in Boston, her brother is a member of a community that lives in a fortified parking garage across the street from Fenway Park. And he and his team drive a modified ambulance around Boston searching for food and supplies. And I'm sure trying to get as much gas as. So imagine Fenway Park in sheer shambles being used as a battleground for the zombie apocalypse. That sounds kind of interesting. Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from? PJ, this idea came from a quote, "What's your zombie apocalypse plan?" Which we've been seeing a lot of that in entertainment in the last 10, 15 years, right? I know there's been a number of like zombie apocalypse type animes. I mean, I know 2 off the top of my head, of course, Zom 100, which is currently airing on Adult Swim or on Toonami on Saturday nights, and of course School Live. So, conversation over 20 years ago. My plan starts with quote unquote acquiring an ambulance. I played with the idea off off and on for two decades. When my mom passed away, I started writing it again. I think it was that headspace of being reminded of our mortality that motivated me to pursue actually making this story exist in the world. The book starts a 2-issue story arc called quote unquote the last homestand, which again, considering you have like Fenway Park as part of the story as well, that again kind of some some secondary meaning there is homestand is usually the term used in baseball for when when your home team has an extended stay at home, extended set of games at home, their own home park. So, and we hope to be able to tell more stories in the Taking Out the Dead universe after that. So it sounds like he's got a plan on mind, huh? Anyways, As we continue on with the article here, and I guess they're doing it in black and white here. Hmm. Interesting. Chris, what kind of comic readers is this suited for? PJ, it's a high IQ action story for fans of tactical action movies like John Wick, Raid Redemption, and Heat. Fans of zombie stories like The Last of Us and The Walking Dead, where would enjoy taking out the dead. Chris, how would you describe your creative process? PJ, I don't think you. I don't think you visually. So I don't think visually. So when I write panel descriptions, I give my artist a big picture of what's happening and the space around it, and trust them to create the most interesting panel from that. Hmm. Chris, what other creators helped you bring this project to life? Um, PJ, Art, Elisu Zu Govea has done all the sequential art and cover for our issue 0 preview. He also did the character designs. Our letterer, Marco Della Verde, um, and he did the final uh, pre-press preparation. My editor is Christopher Stevenson, who is also my creative partner and sounding board for story decisions. And the cover artist is Patrick Burmeyer. He's creating the art for the cover of issue 1. All right, Boston, Mass. See if anybody's here, and of course, if you haven't already, guys, if you guys can like and share the stream, um, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Um, so Chris asked then, how far along is the book? PJ, issue 1 is written. As soon as the Kickstarter campaign completes, Zoo will start working on pages. We're estimating 2 months for art and finishing. We should be into fulfillment by September. Chris, what have you been learning from self-publishing through this process? PJ, self-publishing is the only option for me. As a writer without art chops, it's prohibitively expensive to create a comic on spec and sell it as a creator-owned property. Crowdfunding is the only realistic way for this book to happen. The biggest lesson was really to just get to a point with a story that I don't care if anyone reads it, but also not to be too precious with the material. Be open to input and the rest from the rest of the team. All right. Chris, any special features in this crowdfunding campaign you'd like to mention? PJ, backers at the $100 level will be featured as zombies in the book. Backers at $25 will receive a cassette featuring music inspired by Taking Out the Dead and the musical collective Fluid Factory, and a 3.5 floppy disk with exclusive TOTD material, Taking Out the Dead material. Let's see, Chris. Cool. Anything else you'd like to share with our readers before we wrap? Just want to thank you for the opportunity to share this project. PJ responds, and then Chris responds, good luck on the campaign, PJ. We're rooting for you. All right, so the next book we're going to talk about here, of course, is Cold Cutter by Charles W. Morgan. Cold Cutter will be cutting you soon. I see scissors slicing the tune. Anyways, all right. All right, so of course, Cold Cutter here by Charles W. Morgan. Let me go grab the link here. It looks like some shades of, well, maybe, I don't know if this would be considered steampunk or what have you. Let me go. And this is a Fund My Comic campaign. All right. All right. Oh, let me get this thing up there. All right, so there's that one. You guys want to go check that article out or check that campaign out? There it is right there. It's on Fund My Comic. So that should help you find something interesting to read there. And I will be right back. I do need to step away from the computer for a moment, so I will be right back here. back. Sorry about that. You guys know how sometimes stuff happens. But anyways, let's get back to the article here. So this is Cold Cutter from created by Charles W. Morgan. Let's see. This is issue 3 of it apparently from 4 Speed Studios. So let's take a look. What Chris will tell us about this in his interview here. So Chris Braley, welcome to Indie Comic Showcase, Charles. What's your elevator pitch for Cold Cutter? Charles Morgan. Cold Cutter is a crime noir thriller set in modern Manhattan. Issue 3 has 24 pages, full color covers with black and white interiors. The way noir is intended. Wow. Yep. Okay. Crime is on the rise, and more than ever, drug syndicates have taken over. Dylan Cutter, private investigator, is at the lowest point in his life. His brother and partner was murdered in a revenge killing. As the story starts, he must pick up the pieces and shake off the depression quickly as they return to take him out too. His love interest, Triff Austin, becomes a target, and he must protect her at all costs. Wow, and this is set in modern day Manhattan. This is novel considering how people how you'd probably have a lot of people who should be screaming on the hilltop. No, this sucks ass. Anyways, Dylan finds himself embroiled in a bloodthirsty plot against him. Jabbo Jones, drug ringleader, was busted and imprisoned by authorities after Dylan and his brother Dalton, so Dylan and Dalton Cutter, okay, exposed them. With Dalton now gone, Dylan needs to protect Triff and investigate who else is behind Jabbo and his gang of outlaws. Let's see. Chris, where did the idea for this comic come from? Charles, this idea was in my head for many years. I just didn't know how to finish the story until I visited New York. Once the plot came to me, I decided it was time to self-publish it and produce it. I want people to read it. Enjoy a comic that has character development and where anything can happen. That's the thing that made me want to publish it. The first 2 books were received well, and now issue 3 is finished and at the printers. Now, spring 2024. Here it is right here. An alt cover, I take it. Yeah, I guess with the mohawk look there for the girl, that is kind of that is kind of an interesting take. Who is this comic aimed at? Chris asks. Charles responds, honestly, this comic is aimed at an adult audience that loves Western, crime noir, and fantasy. In other words, I think that's code for lots of gunplay in the comic, I take it. But all ages can read it and enjoy it. It's a modern crime noir thriller with a classic feel. Oh, wow. Somebody kicking the girl in the head. Ooh, that's not going to go over too well. But then she fights back and knocks this guy right on his rear end. Good for her. As always, guys, if you guys haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream. Can we get some more friendly people in here to engage? That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So as we continue on with the article here. So let's see. So then Chris asked, tell us about your style and creative process, Charles. And then Charles responds, my art style is the classic style, kind of a throwback to the crime noir classic comics like Alex Raymond's Rip Kirby, Stan Drake's Heart of Juliet Jones, with a modern twist. My writing process is just a standard script. Then I do storyboards of the complete book, complete working on Bristol's. The writing is the most challenging thing I do. Excuse me. I care about the story. It has to drive the whole thing, and keep you wanting more. Let's see. And then Chris, of course, asks, who's your creative team? And Charles responds, I have an awesome creative team. Other than myself as writer and artist, Jason Meadows does letters. He's amazing. I have comic legends inking covers, and some doing all the art on some covers. Legend Joe Rubenstein has done 3 covers. Comics legend Larry Stroman has a variant on issue 2. Legend Mark McKenna has a variant on issue 2. Francesco Tomaselli painted a cover for issue 3. Rob Powers on logos, trade dress, and formatting. Colorist Jesse Higgy does colors on most covers. Look at that. Let's see, Chris. How far along is the book? Charles. Character development, plot, script, then storyboards. Once that's complete, pencils and layouts. Then go to inks. I do my art traditionally. The letters are done. Finally, there is so much I've learned from production to printers. All phases of self-publishing are challenging. The crowdfunding process is stressful because you don't know what to expect from campaign to campaign. Chris, what are your plans beyond this book? Are there more stories to tell? Charles, the story arc will be 5 issues, and there will be more stories to tell in future issues. We have a catch-up tier where you can get all the previously published comics. All right, so that makes sense because I think this is supposed to be issue 3 right here. So they're already halfway through this first arc, as it were. Oh, anyways. Let's see. Then Chris asks, anything else you'd like to tell us? You want to tell us? Charles then replies, give Cold Cutter, a crime noir thriller, a chance. You won't be disappointed. I have some of the best cover artists ever, and other comic creators are telling me it's well written. The art is good, and the storytelling is great. Come on and check it out. I love what I'm doing, and I have one awesome story to tell over the next two issues that's going to grab you. Then Chris responds, "It looks good, Charles. Best of luck on this campaign." All right, now finally the big name writer here, the big name story here. Nexus Scourge by Mike Barron. So let's go. Of course, let's go grab that link. If I understand correctly, I think bounding. Not, but find out. Actually, no. This is actually off of Mike's own site, I guess. That's right. BaronComics.com. So this is truly a self-publishing project here. All right. Let me get this in here. All right, there's where you can get this comic, BaronComics.com, if you guys want to go check that out. And if you guys haven't already, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. What's the next story, Mike? This is on Thursdays when we do this Woozy. This is basically the only main story we do. This is the only main story I do because it does take usually about 35-40 minutes to get through it. So most of the time, so this is usually on Thursdays. If I'm doing this, is likely the only story I do. So, anyways. Getting back to the article here, then. Negative Scourge by Mike Barron. Let's get into this. With Kelsey Shannon, of course, doing the artwork here. So Chris Braley asks, "Welcome to welcome to Indie Comic Showcase. Mike, share elevator pitch for Nexus Scourge with our readers." Mike Barron. Facing an unknown threat, Nexus must get to the bottom of a string of disappearing planets, leaving no trace and almost no witnesses. It's clear a powerful threat is waging war on the entire universe, with all the existing life being threatened and precious few leads. Only Nexus can save the universe. The hand of Nexus wields the energy of a living sun, possessing limitless power. Nexus is the Nexus. Nexus can say the hand of Nexus wields the energy of a living sun, possessing limitless power. Nexus is the greatest avenger in history, but his power and purpose come from an alien race with their own agenda. Is Nexus a hero or a pawn? Deliverer or destroyer? God or devil? Let's see. Chris then asked, to be completely transparent, I'm helping you manage the crowdfunding campaign on this book. And say, what made you decide to self-publish this book instead of keeping it at Dark Horse? And then Mike responded here. Dark Horse got backed up during the pandemic and chose to push back or cancel dozens of planned projects. My friend, Mike Richardson, who is the reason I still own the character, gave me his blessing to take the project back and crowdfund it. The comics market has split into the traditional publishing houses and the quote-unquote nether zone, which are crowdfunded comics. A lot of us who can't find publishers in the trad zone or traditional zone are now turning to the nether zone. Our customers are different and we can do a lot better crowdfunding. We can also choose formats that don't fit nearly into traditional forms. There it is right there. Here we go. We got a few more comments here. Let's see. Okay, I've been out of the loop. That's fine. Hail, Lord Xenu. Hey there, Elk. Lord Xenu disapproves of wiping your mouth with your shirt. Xenu has spoken. Not really much I can do about it. I think it's just one of those things that sometimes happens. Sometimes I just, my saliva just gets away from me. So, anyways. Well, in that event, anyways. But let me go ahead and go off camera here for a moment. All right. Well, hopefully now I've got some of that out of me now, where I'll keep coming back here. Hankies and Kleenex are sacraments of Xenu. Well, first off, I don't worship Xenu to begin with. Second off, the traditional way of blowing my nose doesn't work for me. And the alternative, you probably would care even less for. So, anyways, now moving on to the next part of the article here. Chris, take us back to the genesis of Nexus. Mike, my first professional comics work was in 1981 at Capital City Distribution. They wanted a superhero. I thought that if someone died every time the hero showed up, that would be dramatic. That's no brilliant insight. It's why pop culture has been dominated by private eyes, police, military, and legal and medical shows for a half century. Life and Death is a stuff of drama. I wanted him to be sympathetic. I made him a reluctant executioner of mass murderers with 40 years of world building behind us. 40 years plus, coming up on 45 in a couple of years here. There's a lot to absorb. But I design each story to be complete in and of itself, so that anyone can pick it up cold and enjoy it. Scourge presents the ultimate villain, an ancient evil that has existed before the dawn of time. It has waited 1,000,000,000 years to destroy civilization. It starts at the fringes of the galaxy and works its way toward the center, destroying every civilization it encounters. I wrote the first 12 pages by drawing them out by hand. I gave them to Steve the Dude Rude. Steve the Dude Rude. That's quite a name. Who penciled, inked, and lettered them. We showed them to the boys, and they said, quote, "All right, now give us 20 more pages," unquote. All right. Here's some of that here. See where we may be at with the comments. Let's see. All right. And new there. So, see, Chris, I know some readers have asked why it's been so long since you've done any new Nexus stories, especially since it's your Eisner-winning creator-owned property. Mike, I have been consumed with creating new properties, beginning with Florida Man, and now including Thin Blue Line, Private American, Bronze Star, and now even more Florida Man. I think one of his latest Florida Man projects is Florida Man vs. Hogzilla, from what I understand. I have always planned on returning to the science fiction superhero we created in 1981. This is just the beginning of a new era for Nexus, and I could not be happier with Kelsey Shannon. Chris, your co-creator, Steve the Dude Rude, has also been quite busy working on his own Nexus project too. What's working with Kelsey Shannon like on this? Mike, Kelsey Shannon's art is instantly identifiable through its mastery of design, color, composition, reminiscent of Alex Toth, Darwin Cook, and Dave Stevens. Kelsey is very much in demand. I was lucky to snag him for this project, and delighted with his enthusiasm for Nexus. All right. Chris then asks, any special tiers on the campaign you'd like to highlight? Mike, all the campaign pages have a great retailer tier, but over on Kickstarter exclusively, we have a tier that supports the comic books for kids, non-profit, where backers can pre-order a print copy. We also send a second copy to the organization, who will distribute it to its service members. it's a great organization. In addition to a print copy of the book, that backer also gets the book in digital format. So I know George Gatzis would probably be happy with that statement. Now, there are a few people who are more into the digital side of things. Anyways, Chris, can Nexus fans expect more Nexus from you after this? Mike responds, after this campaign closes next month, we plan to launch a campaign that I think new Nexus fans, as well as longtime fans, are going to love. We're remastering the original 3 black and white magazines from 1981. This was the comic's debut of Nexus, and Kelsey Shannon is coloring them in the palette of the era. The pages look beautiful and will be a great tribute to the character's legacy. Currently, we're working on another Nexus graphic novel called Triplets, which we expect to launch at the end of the year. All Nexus Scourge backers will get a digital preview of Triplets. This story will grab you by the throat and not let go. And then Chris says, thanks, Mike. I love this book. All right, that's it for this installment. If you're a creator ramping up your own campaign or have a comic available for purchase online, and you want to be featured in our weekly column, click here and follow Indie Comics Showcase on Twitter at Indie Comics, and reach out to them for more eyes on your crowdfunding comic project. Till next time, support Indie Comics. All right, so there we go with that one. So I'm pretty sure we're getting. So we'll probably get right into the. So 48 minutes, yeah, as I said. With that being said, we'll get into the wrestling wrap up right away. So, of course, one of the things we're going to talk about, first thing we'll talk about, of course, is the WWE. Just not a whole lot of news, obviously, just little tidbits here and there. As one of the big stories still being talked about, of course. Still being talked about, of course. One of the big stories still being talked about is Becky Lynch. Her contract's actually due up. Mike Barron is solid. Yes, he is. He's been around a while. So, anyways, as I was saying, Becky Lynch, her contract's coming up. I think it ends tomorrow or Saturday, one of the 2 days. And she's basically indicated, according to some news sites, she's indicated she's going to be taking some time off. Now, whenever obviously after her contract expires and when she'll become a free agent, there'll be a bidding war for her. There's been talk AEW will be looking to try to get her, but she's going to actually take some time off, as of course, her husband Seth Rollins is also currently in the WWE. He's currently on hiatus because he's had some knee surgery, dealing with some injuries. So she's looking to possibly spend some family time with him and their kids. So we probably won't see Becky around for a while, as it were. Also, let's move on to the AEW news. As on last night's Dynamite, the matches saw Swerve Strickland defeat Killswitch in a non-title match. Then we also saw Jon Moxley fend off a challenge from Rocky Romero, who was seeking to earn a title shot at Jon Moxley's IWGP World Heavyweight title. Let's see. Mercedes Moné defended the TBS title against Sky Blue and retained there. And then in a number one contendership gauntlet match for the AEW World title, Will Ospreay outlasted Claudio Castagnoli, Heiichi Sero, Jay White, Leo Rush, Mystico, Orange Cassidy, Pac, and Shota Umino to earn a shot at Forbidden Door to challenge Swerve Strickland for the AEW World title. Now, of course, Ospreay is also just coming off of his big win over Roderick Strong to become the new international heavyweight champion. Will now be getting a shot at Swerve Strickland. Some other things that happened on last night's Dynamite, of course, the Young Bucks in their capacity as EVP's executive vice presidents ended up stripping Adam Copeland of the TNT title after it was announced that he had fractured his ankle during his match with Malachi Black this past Sunday at Double or Nothing. Initially they were going to put the title on Jack Perry, but then what ended up happening is Christopher Daniels came out, who had recently been fired by the Young Bucks, only for Tony Khan to rehire him and put him in the position of interim VP. In essence, acting as Tony Khan's representative to kind of balance out the power struggle between Tony and the Young Bucks. So let me just take a look at this before I continue. Oot 4D. All right, whatever that's supposed to all mean. What's your favorite Polaris anime? I don't know too many Polaris. I don't think I know of any Polaris anime. But anyways, Planetes. Oh, well, okay. If that's Planetes is the only one I have seen Planetes before, I believe. But anyways, so yeah, so that's all that's going down in AEW. Let's see. Now with the announcement, of course, of Christopher Daniels being brought on as interim VP, he announced that the TNT title would be put up in a tournament that will be finalized at Forbidden Door. Now, of course, and the new elite, who is all in the Young Bucks, Jack Perry and Kazuchika Okada, they tried to make their way to possibly attack Daniels. The Acclaimed and Billy Gunn came out to even up the sides. So now we'll talk a little bit about what's going to be happening on tomorrow night's Rampage from Inglewood, from the Kia Forum in Inglewood, California. As on tomorrow night in one of the TNT title eliminator matches, Penta El Zero Miedo will be taking on Konosuke Takeshita. Peter Avalon challenges Satman Singh. In another eliminator match, this one for the Women's World Title eliminator match, Toni Storm will fend off the challenge of Viva Vaughn. Kyle Riley takes on Jordan Cruz, and Ray Fenix will be taking on Isaiah Cassidy. So that's all what's on tap for tomorrow night's Rampage. Now, coming back to tonight, of course, on tonight's Impact, tonight's TNA Impact. Total nonstop action on tonight's episode of Impact, as it were. You can catch that on Access TV. Matthew Rainwalt and Tom Hannafan will be your commentators. In a knockout match, Zaya Brookside will be taking on Steph DeLander. In a non-title match, X Division champion Mustafa Ali with Champagne Singh in his corner will be taking on Leon Slater. Jonathan Gresham takes on Sami Callihan. One half of the TNA Impact World Tag Team Champions, Eddie Edwards, will be taking on Joe Hendry in a singles match. In a battle of the ABC, Ace Austin takes on Chris Bay, and then Steve Macklin will be taking on Mike Santana. So, and of course, on Tuesday night's Power, some stuff happened on TNA on the National Wrestling Alliance's Power program the other night. Let's see. The show opened up with in a non-title match, NWA National Heavyweight Champion Tom Latimer defeating Jake Sterling on this past in a pair of first round matches in the Crockett Cup tournament. Former United States Tag Team Champions Daisy Kill and Talos advanced in the tournament, defeating the Stu Crew, currently the National Wrestling Alliance Joe Kazana promotion JCP Southeastern Tag Team Champions. In the other first round match that happened, Silas Mason and Kerry Morton of the Southern Six defeated the Slime Balls, representing Exodus Pro. And in the main event on the evening, Maxie Impaler defended and retained NWA World Television title against Jake Dumas. So that's all we have for you. Charlie sees us. Hi, Mike. Hey, Charlie. Glad you came in. What's your favorite WWE champion? Okay, do you mean who is my favorite champion of all time, or are you asking me which championship belt or which championship is my favorite of all time? Anyways, and as always, guys, of course, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage, that would be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Do you cover wrestling topics? Yes, I do. That's what kind of the wrestling wrap up portion of the show is centered around, covering wrestling news and all that. And we do, of course, cover some wrestling history as well in this day and age history segment. So, with all that being said, now that we're done with that portion, now it's time to get to this day in niche history. Today being Thursday, May the 30th, 2023. 2024 rather. Let's take a look back at this day in niche history. So, first off, we're going to head back 30 years ago today, as on this date 30 years ago today, on this date 30 years ago today, the 890th issue of 2000 AD from Fleetwood, UK, went on sale on this date 30 years ago today. I guess the cover price was 75. I guess I don't know if that's pounds or pennies or what have you, but and it was 32 pages. So on this date, 30 years ago today, the 890th issue of 2000 AD from Fleetwood, UK, went on sale on this date back in 1994. And going back just 15 on this date back in 2009, 15 years ago today, from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the International Wrestling Syndicate's X show, which took place at the Medley in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, took place on this date back 15 years ago today. The main event saw the Green Phantom defeat PCB, Crazy F, and Manny in IWS death match. This is, of course, the International Wrestling Syndicate, which was a promotion based out of Montreal. You also saw on the match in a grudge match, former WWF World Tag Team Champion Pierre-Carl Ouellet, who's still wrestling today under, as PCO for Total Nonstop Action, defeated Kevin Nash in a grudge match. At the time, IWS champion Beef Wellington retained his title in a three-way match over Sexy Eddie and Frankie the Mobster. In an MMA match, Heavy Max Fury defeated Excess. In a match for the IWS Canadian Championship, champion Shane Hawk defeated Twiggy. Damien won a battle royal, and the night started off with tag team champions, the Untouchables, Dan Payson and James Stone, retaining over 2.0, Shane Matthews and Jagged. And basically this was a title versus career match. The stipulation was that if 2.0 did not win the titles, then they had to split up as a team. So that happened back 15 years ago today. The IWS X show took place. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. So we will, of course, Mike, how painful are dilated eye drops? I wouldn't know because I don't use dilated eye drops. So couldn't tell you. But with that being said, we will be back here, of course, tomorrow night. I'll have Rick Piper from Cross Comic Con with me. I guess Woozy's answering your question there. The Gordon 87. Tomorrow night, of course, we'll be continuing our coverage of comics that went on sale in February of 1940. We'll be looking at comics that went on sale from Quality Comics. Among the features we'll be looking at will include The Clock, Dollman, Black X, and The Invisible Hood. So with that, I thank you all for being here. I hope to see you all back here tomorrow. Bye.